Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Don Jo number SMEST-158 Duro Coated Strike Plate. Let's take a closer look at this. Don Jo manufactures a really nice variety of security hardware. You know, if you know the name Don Jo, it's because of their door reinforcing wraparound plates or their latch protectors, but they make a full complement of strike plates. And really, you know, you buy strike plates from anybody, but you don't necessarily buy, you know, full lip, T-strike, ASA strike in extended lips in different finishes. You know, that's a lot of what Don Jo does. This is the SMEST 158. First of all, it's non-ferrous. That means, to me, this is going to be made of stainless steel. It is also Duro, or DU, Duro Coated. It's a powder-coated finish that is certainly complementary to oil-rubbed bronze. They have products that they call oil-rubbed bronze from Don Jo as a caution, really, but they're not oil-rubbed bronze. They are powder-coated dark brown, like this, to match or to be complementary. So just be mindful. Thankfully, they're calling this powder coated, or they're calling it Duronautic. Now, the dimensional properties of this item. This is a 4 7/8 strike. This is an ANSI strike, 4 7/8. So it's 4 7/8 tall. Okay. The overall width of the strike is about 2 1/4. However, that's not what's important on this strike. What's important is the center line of the screw hole to the edge of the lip, and that's where the 1 5/8 comes in. Okay. Let's detour there for a minute. 1 5/8 lip length. So that is about 3/8 larger than standard, or no, it's more than that. It's probably pushing 1/2 inch larger than standard. It certainly could be 1 1/8, 1 1/4. You know, standard sizes. You get into something that's 7/16, 1/2 inch, 3/8 larger. There's a reason why you needed an extended lip. And what would be those reasons for an extended lip? Well, let's illustrate that on screen. Now here's the item that we're looking at, the SMEST. So we're talking about lip length here. First of all, before we dive into that, let's look at the template, and this will give us all of the dimensional properties of the item, showing you everything that's necessary. The size of the two holes, that's a somewhat common question, and they're here listed for you. This is not necessarily the ideal strike, because it's missing a detail that sometimes makes a lot of sense, and let me illustrate that. You'll notice the 0.26, okay? What would be ideal, although it would make it a handed strike, would be the following. Strikes like this, generally, when they have two holes prepped in them for a latch and a bolt, they are literally right in alignment with each other. That 0.26, okay? What would be beneficial? What would be a better arrangement would be the following. Assuming this is a mortise lock with a deadbolt, if you have an exterior application, what would be beneficial is you have that hole for the deadbolt prep, then your hole for the latch bolt prep. And you notice that I've intentionally drawn them not even. So if this is 0.26, let's make this 0.29. Why? Here's what happens. Door closes, hits the face of the stop, the weather stripping pushes the door back a little bit after the latch bolt finds its position. When you then go to throw the deadbolt, because the door has relaxed from the compression of the weather stripping, you need this biased that way a little bit, okay? Boutique hardware manufacturers that make exterior material are going to make them that way. You know, Don Jo is not looking to, you know, they're not a boutique manufacturer. They're not looking at the nuance to that degree. What they're giving you is a simple solution that's going to work in almost all instances. And could it be tailored better? Sure. It could be. Both of these holes need to be the same size? No, they don't. The deadbolt doesn't have to be, the latch bolt doesn't have to be as big as the deadbolt. But the fact of the matter is this is going to work in lots of instances, and it's reversible because it's symmetrical. Okay, So back to the reason of the extended lip. What we're looking at here is, let's say that you have a 8-inch block wall. You have 8 3/4 jam depth. Life is good. It's T anchored in. Everyone's happy. Okay, great. Strike plate. Well, it'd be more like this. Okay. No need for a extended lip. Well, what if we did this? What if we did an application where you had 8-inch CMU, 5 3/4 jam? Okay, that's certainly no problem. Strike's going to go here. You don't need an extended lip. But what happens is, a lot of time you'll have a wall treatment that's done here, okay, or a jam extension, where you need to get that lip out further away. Speaking of jam extensions, when you have a wall and they've manufactured you your wood pre-hung, they realize, whoop, okay, 4 13/16, that was not a great idea. We need jam extensions. So they'll add extensions here. Your standard lip strike ain't going to get it, so that's why you need an extended lip strike. Okay. Again, 1 5/8, 3/8 larger than normal. Sure, 3/8 could be normal for for something that's, been dealt with. Or, basically what happens is when you build a custom wall scenario where your frame is literally made to look like this, where they bring the wall up over everything, you might need an extension. And if you need an extended lip strike, it's possible that you need to be looking at wide throw hinges as well. There are times when they go hand in hand. Or also with raised barrel hinges. An extended lip strike can go with a raised barrel hinge. A raised barrel hinge would be like, same scenario where you have a jam extension. Okay, here's your frame. Here's your door. It's going to swing out this way. Well, you need that raised barrel hinge to get that barrel, that vertical axis of pivoting, off of the jam. So a raised barrel hinge sometimes will be used. Okay, enough about all that stuff. So we also have now a link to the product catalog. By the way, the template tells us 630 finish, that it's 13 gauge or 90 thousandths. I'm going to put the caliper on the strike and see how close to 90 thousandths this is. It's close. It's 0.097, so a little bit thicker than 97 thousand or 90 thousandths. 0.97. If you're doing a 4 7/8 strike, you're almost certainly doing a hollow metal frame. You could do this in a wood frame as well, and people do order 4 7/8 strikes for wood frames. They're either specified and ordered that way, or sometimes people have a 2 3/4 T-strike and they simply need, as a result of loiding or damage to the frame, they want to chisel out the damaged area, and then you can go with that 4 7/8 strike. That's a common scenario as well. Okay, so the link to the product catalog. Now this is SMEST. This is our strike. Oop. SMEST. And they make it in different sizes. Now let's get down to it. Here's our table where that's to be found. 102 through 175. And just follow this logic and be mindful. This size here is the vertical center line of the screw hole to the edge of the lip and not the overall width. That's how strikes are measured again. They say it's in 630 and DU finish, so they're going to take, if you want DU and powder coat, the 630 finish. So these are the different sizes available. The rest of this catalog is super handy because it will allow you to go through all of the other strikes that they have. You want to buy standard strikes from Don Jo? No problem. But you're probably thinking Don Jo and strikes because you have a need for a custom strike. Extended lips, full lip, 2 1/4, 2 3/4 full lip. That's not very common. 2 3/4 T-strikes. A really extended mortise lip style with that long cutout, so you don't really care about what's going on here because you got a long cutout. Now this you can do a lot of damage with a long cutout, and what I mean is this. If you had a hollow metal frame in place and you had the need for a door, but your door preparation on the lock was maybe a half of an inch off for whatever reason, you could swap out and use the strike and save the day. Okay, let's say you did a hollow metal frame and then you took a door and you prepped a door in a particular location and you made a mistake. You might consider a strike like this rather than a new door is what I'm driving at. Speaking of custom strikes, they'll do it. Here's the custom strike order form. I do find that they're costly, and they're costly because the amount of labor and setup that goes into this sort of situation. Okay, a lot of labor and setup. Now, the rest of the catalog is very handy. Speaking of the rest of the catalog, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page, which is right here. And that's going to allow you to review all of the resources that we have available from Don Jo. And let's finish up this video on camera. Okay, so in conclusion, here's your strike, SMEST. Screws are included. They're going to be typical combination style. 1224 flat undercut head, wood thread at the tip, machine thread up here. That will work in a steel frame or a wood frame, guaranteed. Flat undercut head. Undercut heads are used when you need to get a large size screw flush in a relatively thin piece of material. You have to use an undercut head. So that link to the manufacturer's page below will allow you to get to all those resources. And as I said earlier, if you know Don Jo, it's for latch protectors and door reinforcing wraparound plates. Now you know for them when it comes to extended lip strikes, but they have lots of other items. You want to buy regular hinges from them? Great, they can do that. Push-pull hardware, they can do that as well. Ladder pulls, they get into trim and auxiliary and accessory hardware like filler plates for steel doors and frames, and they get into hinge reinforcing plates as well. Signage they sell, pivots they sell. Good quality people over there. You can pick the phone up and just talk to somebody, and they can help you. And that's, you know, they're an independent company, and the independents have been going away over time. But we always have to be mindful of those companies that are truly independent. You know, we don't want necessarily companies that are independent to be swayed by the temptations of being able to sell material on the online flea markets of the world. That doesn't do anything but erode the brand recognition, the caliber of the product, the caliber of the customer service as well. You know, there are things that you need in life that are super simple, and I don't need any technical support. But will an online flea market go on and tell you all the applications of where you'll need this? No. Do you need to know that information? 99 times out of 100, you don't. But who would you rather buy your material from? Someone who understood the product, or someone who never gave it a thought? We hope you consider us for your Don Jo material. If you have any questions on the SMEST-158 Duronautic Extended Lip ANSI Strike or any other Don Jo product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.